The following opinions are solely those of BoatTEST.com and its test captain.
Hi, Captain Steve for BoatTEST.com, and this is Mako's 234 center console, designed for offshore fishing, and it has a bit of a nod towards family fun as well. I'm going to do a full test and features walkthrough, and we'll start with looking at the fishing features. As soon as we come aboard, we'll start by getting the bait ready. We've got a live well right at the bait station to the side of the leaning post, storage for Plano tackle drawers, as well as the front where we have tackle storage to one side, lure tubes, and tool holders to the other. I'm going to bring some frozen squid on board, so I'm going to start at thawing the starboard quarter, fill this with water, put the squid inside. I've also got a cutting surface right next door and a washdown.
And look at this, just below, a holder for the spool of line with a knife holder and a holder for pliers.
When we bring the rods aboard, on each side under the gunnel, 3 hold up to 7-foot rods. You've got 2 flush-mounted rod holders, rocket launchers at the bait station, rocket launchers at the hardtop. We'll be storing our catch in 2 in-deck self-draining fish lockers, as well as a pair of 86-quart insulated fish lockers at the bow. And we've got a 396-quart in-deck locker at the bow. And notice this one also has a holder for a 5-gallon bucket. For fishing at night, we've got courtesy lights and spreader lights forward and aft. So let's talk about seating. In addition to the bow seats, there's a cushion on top of the 72-quart cooler in front of the console, a double wide helm seat, and finally, a flip-up rumble seat at the stern. The 1-inch rails are recessed inside the cap rails. Now before we get underway, let's turn the battery switches on. They're located inside the console. Battery switches are on the aft bulkhead, easily accessible. Access to the batteries is underneath. At the helm, up above, we've got a lockable electronics box held open by gas assist struts, and notice there's a mirror on the underside so you can easily see what's inside. Dome light just underneath that switches from white to red. 3-piece windshield. If a sinker goes into one, you only have to replace a single piece rather than the whole. Coming down, we've got a GPS map 4210 from Garmin, 3 SmartCraft gauges reducing clutter. The wheel is mounted to a tilt base, and I like that there's a steering knob, and a lockable storage compartment has a gasketed seal. I'm happy with the ergonomics of the helm, especially with the positioning of the footrest. I like the elevated foredeck so you don't have to bend down to work the ground tackle. Hatch to the side gives you easy access to the road. There's a notch in the mold to allow the road to run through. Anchor roller is bolted to the foredeck, secure with a 10-inch cleat. A door leads to the aft platform and is flat all the way across so you can have a service area for doing the daily engine checks or light maintenance. At the bottom, there's 2 lifting strakes leading to a straight chine, and that chine carries way forward to create a spray rail as we get up to the bow. Now the 21-degree dead rise hull comes down to a flat running surface. That should give us quicker times to plane. We'll test that out when we do our performance evaluation. Notice the trim tabs are recessed into the hull, and look at this, we're surrounded by underwater lights. Now let's get underway and see how she performs.
The Mako 234cc has a length overall of 23 feet 4 inches, a beam of 8 feet 6 inches, and a hull draft of 18 inches. With an empty weight of 4,100 pounds, 88 gallons of fuel, 2 people and test power, we had an estimated test weight of 6,038 pounds. With a pair of 150 horsepower Mercury 4-strokes turning 17-pitch propellers, we reached a top speed of 46.6 miles per hour at 5,900 RPM. At that speed, we were burning a combined 28 gallons per hour, giving us a range of 203 miles. Best cruise came in at 3,000 RPM and 23.6 miles per hour. That speed reduced the fuel burn to only 7.7 gallons per hour, which translated to a range of 374 miles and an endurance of nearly 16 hours while still holding back a 10% reserve. That flat running surface at the keel did its trick, and we had a time to plane of only 2.7 seconds. We reached 20 miles per hour in 4.8 seconds and continued accelerating through 30 miles per hour in 7.2 seconds. The Mako 234 is such a good hailing boat and so fun to drive. She's also one of the most responsive I've ever driven. She comes up 18 degrees upon acceleration, and that will block the view past the bow, so the proper technique is to throttle up all the way, and after she comes up on plane, which is under 3 seconds remember, then you pull back on the throttle to cruise speed. Just a little bit of trim will get the spray back just a bit as she gets into her optimum running angle of 5 degrees bow high. I only needed the trim tabs to correct for an uneven distribution of weight thanks to the chunky cameraman, but certainly not to correct any performance deficiencies. There's just a clean slice through the waves as we cross back and forth across the wake, and she remained perfectly dry with hardly any spray coming off the wide flared bows. Full power turns will have her bleeding off speed to the point that she'll spin out, but normal operations show her maintaining her speed quite well. She leans 21 degrees into the turns, and that helps keep the turn comfortable as she clings to the water. And the prop showed no sign of ventilating, even from the trimmed position.
Well, in my opinion, she performs exactly as expected, and my expectations are always high with Mako. And that's my look at the 234 center console from Mako. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.